What's up, you guys? We're gonna do a video today. What are we titling this? Underrated movies from the 1980s
that you should watch.
that you should definitely watch. These are movies that most of them I have shown my daughter. And most of them she has liked. So, these are movies that people who are my age and older, most of them know these movies.
I've seen all but two, I think.
Wow. And most of these movies, people that are her age have probably never heard of.
Most of them. Some of them aren't really that underrated, but like we just like them.
Yeah. Or I think they're underrated just because you never hear people talk about them anymore. They don't show them on TV anymore, really. So what is this? How many do we have?
21.
So we have 21 movies from the 80s that we think are underrated or that people need to watch because they're really good. We're just, of course, Savannah's very favorite is
it's my
number
favorite
one.
movie of all time,
Of all
besides a certain saga. I'm not gonna name it, but it's like my second favorite movie of all time. I could watch it over and over. Okay. Who's gonna say it?
The Breakfast Club. I don't think it's exactly underrated.
It's a classic.
It's a classic movie, but I still think that there's a lot of kids your age that maybe have never seen it.
Yeah.
So that's definitely...
It's not like something like Grease where like everyone has watched it, but like it's still like a classic movie that everyone loves.
Yeah. So that's definitely a movie from the 80s that if you've never seen it, you have to see it. Yeah. It's so good.
Oh, and the people from my generation would know Victorious, because we used to watch Victorious, you know. They made a spin-off episode to like The Breakfast Club. And it's funny because I was like a little kid like watching that knowing that it was a spin-off to The Breakfast Club when everyone else just probably thought they made it up.
I don't think that's the only show that's ever done that though.
I think other shows have done it too, but that's like something that like my generation would remember that's like
the reason why, in my opinion, it transcends all generations and decades is because it's something that it doesn't matter how old you are or whatever, you can relate to it because it's a high school. Mm-hmm. It's kids in high school and everyone, they're all a different type of personality and you can relate to someone in that movie no matter who you are.
John Bender. He's my boyfriend. I have a crush on him.
Okay. Second one, sticking with the John Hughes theme, 16 Candles.
I just watched this one recently for the first time though.
Yeah, I think that when it comes to her generation, most people have probably heard of or seen The Breakfast Club, but have never seen or heard of 16 Candles. Mm-hmm. When I was younger, 16 Candles was the one that I actually watched more often than The Breakfast Club. Mm-hmm. But it has some of the same actors in it, because John Hughes would hire a lot of the same actors for all his movies. That's a good one.
But honestly...
Also set in a high school setting, too. So that's another reason why it transcends generations and decades and still works.
From the people that I know, the 80s movie that, like, is John Hughes that people know the best is Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Yeah.
Like, that's one that stuck around through all the generations.
Yeah, most people, it doesn't matter how old you are, you've seen it or heard of it or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
so the third one on the list is my favorite 80s movie that I think probably no one her age has ever heard of except for her.
But I feel like it's another classic, though, for your guys' generation.
I don't even know if for my generation it is because, I mean, I don't know.
It's really good, though.
It is. It's my favorite 80s movie. It's in my top 2.
But, like, didn't this movie start the whole hair cutting trend? Where, like, in movies, girls would get upset and cut their hair?
I don't know. They do it in the movie, but anyway, the movie I'm talking about is The Legend of Billie Jean. That is my favorite 80s movie. I love that movie so much. That movie is not a John Hughes film. It's not like a high school setting film. It's more of a a girl who becomes kind of a rebel. I don't know how to really describe it, but if you haven't seen it, you need to go out and see it.
Just so you know, every movie on this list, she's gonna say, it's my favorite movie of all time. We should have a count for that, because literally all these movies she said is my favorite movie of all time before.
4. Hang on. 5.
Oh, come on. 6. I know these 2 are your favorites.
At least 6 of them I'm going to say are my favorite of all time.
She says that about everything, and then she's like, no, I don't say that about everything. I have ones that are better than others. And then you turn around and say, I can't choose.
Here's the thing, though. They're different genres. So
the next one is her favorite movie of all time. Go.
Completely different genre. The next one is Roadhouse. I am in love with Patrick Swayze.
But out of all of his movies, that's the one that no one knows about, in my opinion.
I don't get that, even. Because when I think of Patrick Swayze, I think of Roadhouse, but I guess most people think of Dirty Dancing.
Ghost.
Oh, Ghost.
That's what I think of.
I think
it's really cute. The camera just moved.
Oops. Well, anyway, when it comes to Patrick Swayze movies, Roadhouse is definitely the best, in my opinion. And Roadhouse is just... You can't disagree with me, though. You know it is. It's so good.
Yeah.
So good. Definitely gotta stop. Next one is also, I'm gonna say, is my favorite movie in the 80s. Different genre. Ooh. Thank you.
Thank you. I haven't had these in so...
We are cheddar, sour cream, Ruffles girls. We are not hot Cheetos girls. Okay, so the next one is Teen Witch. I think that all of my friends who are my age, they all know this movie, and they all also love this movie. It's a really good one.
No, it's not.
But that one's also a high school setting, but it's about witches, so...
But, never mind.
What?
Nothing.
Oh, here, Mama.
I kind of mix this movie up and The Craft up sometimes.
They're 2 different decades.
But I just mix them up sometimes. I have a favorite scene.
In Teen Witch? What's your favorite scene? Should I guess?
You know what it is.
The part where they go have sex?
What? Again, I mixed it up with The Craft, so I don't know if this is from The Craft or Teen Witch.
Okay.
But it's my favorite scene. You know that it is because I sing it.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Okay, they're walking down the street, and there's 3 guys standing there, like, rapping, right?
That. Okay.
All right, next one, you want to say?
Walk Like... Why am I saying the one I've never watched? Okay, Walk Like a Man, but I've never watched it.
This one, I do have this movie, but for some reason, I still haven't shown it to her
All
yet.
I know is that it has to do with dogs, and it has Howie Mandel in it.
That's not true. It has to do with wolves.
Same thing, and it has Howie Mandel in it.
That's a good one because Howie Mandel's character was raised by wolves. So when he re-enters the human world, he's very dog-like, and he doesn't... It's a comedy, so it's a good one.
Okay.
Right. Howard the Duck. Also one of the movies that every single one of my friends that's my age, they all know and love this movie too. It's a good one. You've seen it, right? Howard the Duck?
Yeah.
Did you
only
like
once
it?
though, because you waited for some of these movies. You waited a while because they're like inappropriate.
Yeah, Howard the Duck has some inappropriate stuff in it.
There's one scene that I actually remember too. Okay. Anyway. Okay.
Okay. Stand By Me.
You have a Funko Pop of Howard the Duck, by the way, too.
I do. Stand By Me. You said you don't remember this one?
I've seen it, but like, I don't know.
Stand By Me is one of those movies that, it's... So these 4 boys go looking for a dead body. They hear there's a dead kid somewhere, and they want to see it for themselves. So they take off to try to find the kid who died and see his body. So it's all about their journey of doing that. It's not a comedy or anything like that. It's a drama, but it's really good.
I want to say this one.
Oh, it has Kiefer Sutherland in it too, and I mean, I love him.
Okay, number 9, The Outsiders. This one, funny story about this one. So in 7th or 8th grade, I think it was 8th grade. So 8th grade, we were doing a project and we were reading this book from the 60s called The Outsiders, and I've never heard of it, and I was like, oh, okay. And I told my mom we were gonna watch the movie to it, and I had no idea that it existed. And she was like, oh, the 80's movie? And she was like, that's a good movie. Like, what the heck? Like, you're doing that for a project? Like, no one had ever heard of it. I'd never heard of it, like, and I don't really know how I never heard of it because it has, like, really good actors in it. But, like, yeah, it was a really good movie in the end, and I watched it with my family and for the project. So, yeah.
It's a dark
That's
movie.
how you know it's underrated when it's for a school project.
Well, it's weird, though, how you guys have to watch all these things from the 80's that we just watched for entertainment.
Like that show.
The other day, Savannah had to watch for what was it, social studies? She had to watch, what show was it? Different Strokes. I could not believe that. I was like,
That's my homework.
yeah, I was like, that's your homework? God, we watched that just for fun. What's next? Oh,
Number 10.
Number 10, Overboard. I don't know if this is considered underrated. I think
It's
most
not.
people know this movie and love this movie.
Well, also because they remade it, too.
Yeah, they remade it, but I don't know. Do most people your age know this movie?
I don't know. It's not like... See, that's where it's underrated because it's not talked about a lot.
Right. It's on
By
TV a lot, I
anyone?
think, but
But it's not, like, talked about.
yeah,
So I don't know.
it could be talked about more. It's a really good movie.
Okay, number 11.
Oh,
This
no.
is the one I haven't seen.
Okay, this one, I don't know. I feel like even people my age would not remember this movie, but this is called Witchboard, and it's about a Ouija board movie, and so it's the horror genre. Wait, too scared to watch it?
I don't like Devil.
That's a very, very underrated movie, and it's really good.
It's
And
scary? It's from the 80s, so it's probably not. Sorry,
but it's also about Ouija boards, so it's a little creepy.
Yeah.
And it has, I don't know if anybody is a soap opera fan, but in the 80's and 90's, I used to watch Days of Our Lives, and the actor who played Patch, he's the main character in Witchboard.
Number 12 is Over the Top. Sylvester Stallone movie. It's
good.
really good, though. Like,
It is.
I like it better than Rocky.
I'm not a fan of the Rocky movies. Those are very overrated, in my opinion.
Yeah.
That one's good because he's a trucker,
Wrestler.
but he does arm wrestling competitions, and it's mostly about kind of him having a relationship with his son, but it's about the trucking and the arm wrestling. Really good movie. So if you've not seen Over the Top, definitely recommend that one.
Mom's favorite movie. Number
Another-
13.
Number 13 is another one of my all-time favorites. Splash. I love mermaids and mermaid movies
And
and
Tom
shows
Hanks.
and Tom Hanks and has Daryl Hannah. She plays the mermaid and has John Candy in it. So if you know John Candy, it's one of the best movies ever made. Oh, and Eugene Levy is in it too. It's a really good movie. You liked it, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I've seen it a lot because of you. 14. Pretty in Pink.
This is another John Hughes movie, but this one is way more underrated than like Breakfast Club and 16 Candles. I feel like my generation knows this movie, of course, but I think that your generation has either never heard of it.
Well, like, it's one of those movies that the title's thrown around sometimes, but like you don't really, like, no one's watched it.
Or realizes,
What it is.
yeah. That one, just like Breakfast Club and 16 Candles, it also has Molly Ringwald in this one too. And this one has, I'm drawing a blank on his name in real life, but the guy from 2.5 Men.
Charlie Sheen.
No, his brother.
Alan.
Alan.
I don't know his name in real life, but his name in the show is Alan.
Yeah. Has him in it.
Oh, that's right. And he's not as ugly in that.
I think his character's name is
Sorry.
like Ducky.
Ducky.
Is that right? Is his name Ducky? in Pretty in Pink, Joe?
I've seen that one too, but
Ducky?
not often.
You know the movie Pretty in Pink?
No.
Whatever.
I'm watching High School Musical too. Please be quiet.
Really?
Wow, you're such a dork.
Pause it.
Anyway, Pretty in Pink, if you are a fan of John Hughes and his movies, definitely Pretty in Pink is a good one to watch. We just haven't shown that one to her yet.
Yes, you have. I've seen it.
Pretty in Pink? Mm-hmm. When did you ever watch Pretty
You
in
showed
Pink?
it to me once.
I don't think I did.
You
Don't they
have.
argue
I've
like
seen
they're
it.
married?
I've literally seen it.
Oh,
I have.
really?
I 100% have seen it because I remember you showing it to me. It wasn't that long ago.
Wasn't that? No.
It had to have been on TV and I just wasn't paying attention because I don't
You
remember.
showed it to me, mother.
Why would you do that? It's so rude.
You had a whole conversation with me with how Alan was in it. Anyway.
Well, okay. Next one. This is another John Hughes movie, I think. Yeah. Weird Science. This one I feel like is underrated. No one ever talks about this one anymore. But this one is, in true John Hughes fashion, always hiring the same actors. What's his name? Or Anthony Michael Hall, who is in Breakfast Club and 16 Candles. He is one of the main characters in Weird Science. And that's just a movie about these two guys who want to create the perfect girlfriend. So on their computer, they create a girl who comes to life and she's a real person.
Wait, that's
Good movie.
funny. Disney, I feel like Disney and
Did a
Nick
movie.
like to copy
Yeah.
this because 16 Candles, there's a movie called 16 Wishes on Disney. Weird Science, so there's a Disney movie
A Barbie.
where they
something,
create,
right?
no, they create their perfect boyfriend and he's a
Oh.
robot. And so like they like computer create him and then like 3D print him kind of and he's a robot. 16, The Lost Boys.
My family, we all love vampires. Like, we're really into vampires. And it all started with one of my aunts. She got all of us cousins really into vampires. And then, of course, that trickled down to her because I am really into vampire movies and horror movies and stuff.
I'm obsessed.
So, of course, she loves Lost Boys. It's probably the first vampire movie you ever saw, right? Lost Boys?
Probably. Either
Yeah.
that or Interview with a Vampire.
No, Lost Boys was definitely before Interview with a Vampire.
Well, I know it came out before that, but
No,
like,
I mean, I think I showed it to you before.
probably.
This one has the two Corys, Corey Feldman and Corey Haim.
Yeah.
This
Sorry.
one also has Kiefer Sutherland in it. It's a good. So if you like vampire movies, definitely need to see this one.
Now these last ones, most of them are mom's favorites. All right, read all your favorite movies in the entire universe
All right.
that no one knows about.
Look, two of them I'm not gonna say are my favorites.
That one is not underrated. In my
I'm
opinion.
gonna skip 17. I'm gonna
Okay,
tack it at
fine.
the end. But so
17.
The Labyrinth. I love the movie. It's not one of my favorites. What are you doing?
You know your time is 00. You guys are not recording right
Stop!
Yes, we are.
I've been checking it.
So The Labyrinth. I love that
now.
movie.
In the world.
I'm not gonna say it's
Hey.
my favorite. It's not. But I love that movie.
It was one of my favorites as like a young kid. We watched it.
No, because anytime I've ever said, "Oh, I love that movie,"
We
we're
wa-
like, "Ugh."
That's not true. We watched it on VHS all the time when I was little.
I thought you always were the one that was like, I know.
No, I really like that one. I say that about the other movies.
Oh.
The Labyrinth,
Okay,
I
so-
really like. I drew it. Remember?
No, I know that. Yeah, The Labyrinth is good. It's kind of mystical. Has David Bowie in it. And if you're her age, you probably don't know who David Bowie is. But yeah, that one's good. If you've not seen it, you need to see it. Number 19, Neverending Story. Most people have heard of this movie. It's also kind of a mystical fantasy type. I'm also not going to say this one is my favorite movie. It's not, but I love it. Yes, I love it.
She talks about it all the time, constantly. Neverending Story was my favorite movie ever, and I'm just like it's all right, but it because I wasn't a kid in the 80s, so
Okay, so
I
when
didn't grow up with that as my favorite nostalgic kid
When I was
movie.
8 years old, maybe it was my favorite movie, but I'm not 8 years old, and so.
You talk about it all the time and how no one ever talks about it, but
Well,
you.
yeah, people don't talk about it a lot anymore. Okay, so the final three go together because they're part 1, 2, and 3, and I say that these are underrated, or at least 2 and 3 are. The Poltergeist trilogy. I'm going to say these are my favorite 80s movies, at least in the horror genre and any genre. Like, I can say, oh, what was one of the others? I can say, like, oh, Roadhouse is my favorite movie, but that's not a horror genre. It's totally different than that. But the Poltergeist movies, if you just ask me what's your favorite movie, and you could be talking about any genre at all, I will say the Poltergeist trilogy. Like, it's all-time favorite movies.
I like the last one the most, I think.
The third one? Really?
Or wait.
That's the one.
Maybe.
That's the one's the most underrated. Most people either never saw it or don't like it. But most of you have probably seen Poltergeist 1. Maybe half of you have seen the second one. Most people probably have not seen the third one, but the third one is completely different. It's the same girl, but she's now living with an aunt and uncle and not her parents anymore. So
Which one is it? That's my favorite. My favorite is the one.
The one. Which one? Did you just fart?
No, that was my shoe. That was my shoe.
I really thought you farted.
Oh, God.
Which one?
The one where
Okay, so the third
the
one,
short
she's in the
lady,
high-rise. She's
where
in all
she
three.
dies.
That's the third one.
Yeah.
Then the high rise.
That's
and
my
there's the
favorite
mirror.
one. Yeah, that's my favorite one. I
That's-
don't know why. That's my favorite one.
I think that's kind of the creepiest one.
Nothing wrong
With
with
the
that.
mirrors and stuff.
Nothing wrong with that.
No, it's scary. So,
That about wraps this up.
yeah, that is going to wrap up our 80s underrated movies. But
Stay tuned for the other two.
we are going to do a 90s and a 2000s one also. But, so out of all those movies, you like most of them, right?
Yeah, but I would say my favorites, or the ones that my favorites out of them. Like, what are your favorites out of them?
You know my
Well, I guess
favorites.
we already know. You all know too. My favorites out of them are probably The Breakfast Club.
Duh.
Breakfast was so amazing. Like, it's like my favorite. And then, that's actually kind of hard.
Which ones would you recommend to someone your age?
Definitely The Breakfast Club.
We know that.
16 Candles, because like they're high school movies, you know?
Yeah.
Teen Witch would be good for someone my age. The Legend of Billie Jean even, because it's like, it's just another like teen movie like that you could watch as a teen. And then The Outsiders is really good though. Splash is good. I don't know. See, I'm not like her. I didn't grow up in the 80s, so I don't like have my mindset on my favorite ones. I just know The Breakfast Club is my favorite ever. So yeah.
All right, so if you guys are stuck in quarantine like we are and you're really wanting something to watch that you've never seen before, I recommend every single one of these 21 movies.
You have the time for it.
You have the time, you're not doing anything else, sitting on your butt.
And that's a wrap.
All right, so that's it for the 80s movies list. We're going to do a 90s and a 2000s. But
Probably right now. So if we're
Probably
wearing the
right
same
now.
outfits, that's why.
I'm just going to post them on
And I'm
different
still
days.
eating Ruffles, that's why.
All right, so this thing keeps moving on its own. Leave me a comment telling me if you've seen these movies, which ones are your favorites, which ones would you recommend, which ones do you think are maybe underrated, overrated, and which ones maybe do you like really hate and think that are awful. So
This video's too long.
I'm gonna edit it way down. Leave a like, leave a comment, and subscribe to my channel. See you guys next time.